Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Once again, this is Rich with my babies. So today is the day, I promise you. We were going to inspect this hive. I had it treated with Appy Life VAR, and we had to wait 2 weeks before we put another super on it. So what I want to do with this hive today, I might not get everything done because it's supposed to be some rain and I go slow when I'm videotaping so we can don't miss any steps. So what I want to accomplish today is I want to check for swarm cells, make sure there's no swarm cells in there before I put the honey super on, and maybe if I can do a follow-up mite test to see how the Appy Life VAR performed. Yep, after you do a mite treatment, you have to check to make sure that the mites are not past the mite numbers, and that's the only way to tell if your mite treatment is working. Yeah, some people just say treat every 3 months, but that doesn't tell you if your mite treatment is working. So that's what I want to accomplish today. So let's get started. Smoker, as always, to smoke the entrance. Few puffs. And let's lift the top. We got a screen inner cover here so the bees don't have access to me. And look at that. Ooh, this thing is loaded with bees, just as I expected. Got a couple of hive beetles in there. So let me get the beetle gun because we don't want them escaping. Yep, they running. Once they hear that gun come out, they know what time it is. All right, I think we got most of the hive beetles. Let's turn the gun off. All right, so I want you to see why I want to check for swarm cells, because I know this hive was going to be full. So I'm going to give you a close-up over the cover so that you can see exactly. Now, some of them have moved, but this whole thing was covered with bees. So I'm going to give them a little smoke, and you can see they were propolizing the inner cover because they don't like light coming in. So right at the edges, there's light that's coming in, and they kind of left the middle here opened up. So that's just something you deal with when using a screen inner cover. Use a regular inner cover, that won't happen because it's solid and they're in total darkness. So all right, let's get them smoked here on the top and we will continue. So I'm going to give them a little few puffs here at the top, get them off the top. I don't want to give them too much, just a couple of light puffs. All right, we got that. I won't use the Be Calm today. I don't think we need that, but I just kind of showed you that. So let's open them up here. And look at that. They got bird comb with honey all over the top. So we got to scrape that off. It looked like they ran out of space. Yeah, I know. I should have had this honey super on. If you see this on top here, this honey could have been in the honey super, and they have it sitting right up on the top. So I got to get them out the way here so I can scrape it off. Let's get that out of the way and scrape it off. And I can put that to the side over here. I'll let them go get that, put it right there. They can enjoy that little bit of honey. Oh, this thing is like, wow. Not what I expected, but I'm glad I can get a honey super on here. So let me get my frame holder in place. Let me put this over here so they can slurp on the honey. I'll deal with that later. Usually I'll break that off and just eat it, but let's get this set up here. And you can see how kind these bees are. They are not that thing. And so what they did here was they propolized the oil traps. If you look, every single hole at the top is closed. So what you got to do on inspections is open back up all those holes so the hive beetles can fall in. That's probably why there was a lot at the top. All right. Both of these are propolized closed. They get the hive beetles in there and then they get upset with them. So I'm going to put those traps. So look at bees over here. This is what you call bees. Now this is 100% covered. So I'm in trouble here somewhat, but let's see what we can do. Where's my hive tool? Let's see what we can do. I kind of figured that's what was going to happen, but because of the Apivar treatment, I had to wait. So there was nothing I can do about that. So let's see. Let's pop this end frame here. Come on, what you doing? Oh, oh, the bees are in my way. The bees are in my way. Trying not to get them killed, but they love to get in the way. You know what's gonna happen. All right, so look at this thing. They got a whole honey section right here. This whole thing is filled with honey. So let's put that right here. You gotta watch. Well, it won't be too bad because the flow is still going. But if you didn't have a flow, you would have to be careful because you could cause robbing by placing that screen out there like that. So let's see. All right, girls, they're a little antsy, but they guard when they guard in honey. Oh, look at this. Oh, they making brood over here. All right, they definitely need a super. I think these gals can have a honey super filled. by the time the end of the summer, beginning of the fall, the amount of honey I see in here, ooh, I'm surprised. You don't want them to be honey bound, then they'll start thinking about swarming. So that's what we checking for. We want to make sure. Oh, there's my queen. Look at that. What's the chances of seeing the old girl here and there? There she is right there on the end, the old girl. All right, so we got the old girl there. Let's put her down safely. So now once I find the old girl, I can go ahead and do a mite test. I can go down here, try to find one of these screens that's in the middle where the nurse bees are, and pop one out of there and try to do a acid wash. So we're gonna lose 300 bees. We are going to lose 300 bees. Okay, here's a nice brood cell. So we're gonna shake this right here. Okay, so that is shooken right there. So let me get the camera over here for you. And so once you shake these bees in the box, you gotta find a container to shake them in. All right, we're gonna close that up for now. We're gonna get the acid wash ready. So we're gonna take this and scoop them up and get 300 bees. And we're gonna do a mite test. All right, so we pour our alcohol in here right up to the line. There we go, we're at the line. And so what we're gonna do, we're gonna take the scoop right here and we're gonna scoop 300 bees, pour them in there and shake them around. And then the rest I'll tap back in the bottom there. So let's get that. We should have 300 right here in the corner in my cup. Let's shake them. Get me 300 bees. All right, 300 bees going in. Get a couple more just to make sure. All right, we got them in there. Now we take the cover, put the cover on like that, latch the sides, and then you twirl it around for 1 minute. Shake it around for 1 minute, and then you look at the bottom. Once we twirl it around for 1 minute, we'll pull the basket out. I'll let you see how this is done. I'll leave those in there. What happens is when you put them in the box, all the flying bees come out. And then the nurse bees, they'll stay on the frames. Those are the ones that take care of the brood. They feed the larvae, cap the pupa, and they feed the queen. So we'll swish this around for 1 minute. One good minute. Yeah, these girls exploded on me. That's good though. That's good. That means my queen is doing her thing. Okay. So we did that. Now here's what we do. We take the cover off. And unfortunately, you're going to have dead bees in here. You got to take the shake basket out. You let that drain off, and there's your dead bees in there. Those are bees that sacrifice their lives for the good of the colony. And so we're going to shake them. We're going to shake all of the alcohol off. All right, and so there you go, dead bees. And so now we're going to put the cap on, and from looking in here I can tell we got 0, which is perfect. That's a perfect mite count. So what you do is you look at the bottom, you lift it up in the light, and you look here at the bottom, and you should be able to see the mites. And what I see in there is 0 mites. So that's a perfect 0 mite count. That's what you want to see. So that tells me that my mite treatment is working because I got 0 mites. I mean, it's not 100%, but at least you know if there's only 1 mite, let's say it's off and there's 1 mite, that's still good. For 300 bees, if you only find 1 mite, that's darn good. So let's go back over here. Let's get back to work. We got a lot to do here. So that's what you want your hive to look like. See that? All 10 frames are covered. So what you actually do is when you have 7 to 8 frames, which is 70 to 80% of the frames covered, you want to add an extra super on top. I'm way behind because I had to wait for my mite treatment. So let me smoke the top again to get them off. I don't want to pinch bees. I hate to pinch bees, but some, you know, when you get your hive like that, bees are going to get squashed. So, you know, what can you do? You didn't do it intentionally, and that's just part of the job. So I saw my girl already down here. All right, let's keep, I want to scoot these down. And I just want to keep checking for queen cells. Because when they get like that and they get crowded, they'll start thinking about swarming, and then the queen doesn't have a lot of space to lay. So she'll start, you know, thinking about, hey, I'm out of space. It's time to find another nest, and that's not what you want. So let's see what we got here. And you got to look real good. A couple of drone brood, which is normal. And they'll hide these queen cells. I see some wonky comb they got going. They got plenty of cat brood pollen. And what we looking for are queen cells. Yeah, I think they got a little bit too much honey going on in here though. Yeah. Oh yeah. Soon as the bees hatch out, they're packing the queen spot to lay with honey. So we gotta hurry up and get this super on here. All right, so let me get down in here. Let's check this one. All right, girls, come on. We don't want to squash you. We don't want to squash you. All right. Yeah, they got way too much honey. Oh boy. Did I get here on time? You talk about perfect timing. Yeah, they got nectar on there, cat brood. Ooh, this queen, she's probably like really looking for stuff to lay, places to lay. All right, let's keep going. All right. Well, at least if I get this done before the rain comes, I'll be happy. So we got the mite test done. I got 0 mites. That's good. Let's see what's going on here. Lots of honey. They have good honey trackers. They got plenty of honey. Let's tear off some of that comb there they got billing on the side. We don't want them billing that on the side. See, they've been looking for somewhere to store honey. I can tell they starting to store it on the side of the frames. So that's going to be the only problem. Yeah, she got this filled up with brood. Let you see that. And that side is filled up. No queen cells going back in. So when you go in, you probably got to wiggle this frame a bit to put it down. Because what happens is the bees will be under there and they'll get squashed. So you got to kind of go down slowly and then wiggle it as to tell them, you know, hey, there's a chance to get out of the way so you don't get squashed. All right, let's see what they got here. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're replacing the empty brood spots with honey. That means they're bringing in a lot of honey. They're bringing in a lot of honey. So we got to hurry up and give them some space to store honey. All right, let's wiggle that a bit, get them out the way, give them a chance to escape. All right, let's do. All right, we're down to the last 2 on the edge, which should be food frames. But I'm guaranteeing you they have tons of honey in here. So we'll give them a shot. All right, girls, move on. Oh, yeah, these are heavy. Oh, yeah. Okay, this one has a lot of brood and honey. Let's break these wonky combs off the side there. They're making comb on the side. You don't want them to make comb on the side. That's because they don't have nowhere to store the honey. Shame on me. I was behind with the mite test and the mite treatment, if you ask me. So, hey, all right, this is solid brood here. These are bees that are actually getting ready to hatch. And then on that end, I see honey. All right, so I'm good. I see no queen cells unless I missed one, which I hope I didn't. So let's do this last one here. You know what? I'm not going to do that last one. That's just honey. We just get these back together. All right, I got to smoke them. They're just like so many. You got to get them out from between the frames. All right, there we go. We got them smoked. So now I got to move fast before they come back between the frames to get squashed. All right, we're going to have to keep the smoke in hand because it's just so many. I'm going to have to smoke where I want to work at, right there. Smoke there. Get them out. Smoke right here. Move them over. All right, they got their nest how they want it. I'm going to put it back how they had it. I don't have to rearrange anything. I know they don't like the smoke. Ugh. All right, so I saw Queenie Girl. Queenie Girl was on that frame. Let's see if she's still over here. Nope, Queenie Girl is not here. All right. We want to break all of this off here. All right, I have to be careful because Queenie Girl has moved off that frame. Unless that wasn't the one she was on. You know what? I think it was this one she was on. Let's see. I think it was that one. All right, let's check this one. Yep, there she is. All right, so we got Queenie Girl back. She's still on that frame right there, looking for some spaces to lay. Let's get her in the middle. All right, climb up, girl. Go to the middle. I don't want you. Oh, wow, she's probably mad. She's saying, oh, they got all my spaces filled with honey. That's not good. Now I can't lay any eggs. All right, so we are completed with this one. I found my queen. You know, sometimes accidents happen. She could get squashed in between one of these little frames where I'm moving them. But she doesn't stay there all the time. She'll move around. So you just got to check. I saw her on that frame when I started, and she's still on it, which is good. So that means I haven't pinched her between a frame. And let's get it going. Let's get this one going. All right. Get out of there. Good. Nobody in there. Good. All right. So now I'm going to put this little booger back in. So what I'm going to need to do is push all of the frames to one side like that so I can get that last one in. You can, okay. And then we can get the last one back in. Yeah, this thing is full of honey. So let's get them back together. Hopefully none get squashed in between the frames. It already looks like they're moving out the way. Okay, great. All right. All right, so now that I've got them all back in, what you want to do is center everything because I pushed everything this way. Now you want to go over here on this side and put it in the center. Now you want everything to be centered. All right, that's good. Okay, let's get another honey super for this one. And you know what? I got to open up the hive beetle. You know what? We don't need the traps. We don't need the traps. You know why? I got a full colony here. That's what you need to control hive beetles. So I'm going to leave those out. Now that I got a nice healthy colony, I'm going to leave those oil traps out and the bees will take care of the hive beetles. I'm not running from you, just to let you know. Okay. All right, so we are going to brush the bees off the side here, get them back in the hive. And then we're gonna smoke them, and then we're gonna put this top on, this other super, for them to start storing honey. I wish I had a way. You know I'm supposed to put a queen excluder up here. Let me get a queen excluder. You know what? I think I better give them some time. I won't put the queen excluder on now. I'll let the bees get up here without the queen excluder. Sometimes they get lazy. When you put on the queen excluder, they don't want to go through it. They get lazy. So what we'll do is smoke them down, smoke them out the way, and then we'll give them the super. All right, we'll get them out the way. Why is that? This feels crooked. All right. So you see, now they got a honey super on. So I didn't put the queen excluder on here because I want them to have access to the top. So let's put this back on. Oh, we got to scrape all of this off. If you see this, they were actually building comb on here to store honey because it's just so much honey in that hive. So let me clear this off. Okay, that's cleared off. We can put this on. All right, girls, come on. Move out of the way. The cover is coming down. Come on, go in or out. It's like kids, you know, they at the door, they got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and you don't want to squeeze their hands in the door, so you tell them, go in or go out, Johnny, you're going to get squashed. All right, so this is done. So that's how you add the honey super onto it. And normally what I'll do is I'll put the queen excluder on here to keep the queen down. But because they have so much, you know what? I might change my mind. I might take that up. Well, you know what? Let me give them a day. All right. I'm thinking that, you know, you got bees in the bottom that's getting ready to be hatched out. So she should have some room to lay. If I leave the queen excluder off, that might encourage the bees to move all the honey up to the top and give her room in the bottom to lay. So let me try that method first. And then what I'll do is I'll come back and check and I'll see if the queen is laying up in the top or if they're moving the honey, and then I'll make a decision from there. All right. So that's it for today. I told you I would allow you to come out with me. I told you to stay tuned for this video that we're going back in this hive and we're going to put a honey super on it. We're going to do a mite test, what we did. And we're going to do what else? A mite test, acid wash actually, and we were going to check for queen cells. So we did that and we added the honey super. I'm happy I got this done. Now the skies can turn gray, black, dark blue, whatever, because I am done. So let me get the top on. And you know what was funny? I didn't see any hive beetles inside the hive. Now, when I lift the top off, they were inside the cover. So that tells you the bees are doing a very good job at controlling the hive beetles inside of the brood chamber. That's why I say if you have a healthy colony, you don't need peppermint, you don't need Swifter sheets, you don't need all of this stuff that people tell you to put in your hive. Now, does that work? Yes, it does work. But that's for if you have a weak colony. If you have a weak colony that can't control the hive beetles, of course, add an oil trap, add peppermint, add your Swifter sheets. But if you don't want to add that, once you get your hive up and running and healthy, and this is what I mean when I say once you get them going, you'll hear me use the term, once you get them going, that's what I mean. Once you get your brood chamber full, no swarm cells, they look healthy, check your mites, and then you add your honey super. So I won't have to bother them. I'll check them maybe one more week just to see what the queen's doing if she came up and started laying in the honey super, which is no problem because when the bees hatch out, they'll just put honey in that. But I want to give them somewhere to store the honey. As you can see from the inner screen cover, they were making comb on that, trying to store honey because it's like, hey, we need a place to store the honey. So they just started making comb wherever. So now that they have a super on here, that should help them out. So thank you for joining me and stay tuned for the next video.